Good morning, everyone. It is very early Wednesday morning here in the Midwest, and we have really such active weather, and especially if you're in North Dakota, places like North Dakota, it's really amazing what the state has just gone through. Considering last week, that 3-day blizzard, which was a historic blizzard, it broke many records across the state for snowfall accumulations. We had one area that got 36 inches of snow. That town did not break a record, believe it or not, because the official amount was only 20 inches of snow. But the 36 inches of snow was considered valid. And we had many places which were anywhere between 24 and 36 inches. Some areas got several feet of snow drifts. The pictures are just unbelievable. There's pictures of doors, which you open up the door, the whole thing is snow. You can't even get out. Now, that area, so they got a massive blizzard last week with 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Another major snowstorm moved through Sunday night, and some areas got about 8 inches of snow in North Dakota again. Places like Leeds, North Dakota, they got 8 inches of snow. This place, Kavaler, North Dakota, 8 inches of snow. Grand Morales, Minnesota, 7.3 inches of snow. Devils Lake, North Dakota, 6 inches of snow. Duluth, Minnesota, 5.8 inches of snow. We're holding in April. They already broke a record. Bismarck, North Dakota broke a record for the snowiest April on record. I think the previous record was 21.8 inches. Currently, they're holding at 21.9 inches with still 13 days left to go for April at the time this record was broke. Now, there is a major snowstorm. A major storm system, an impactful storm system, which will be pushing up the Dakotas this weekend. This will have major impacts for all over the country, really. But for North Dakota, another winter weather event is possible in North Dakota, the northern half of North Dakota. The European computer model has just brought the storm track further north than what it was saying earlier. It tells us the National Weather Service for Bismarck. And, the rain, it's going to be a tricky call for at least the first half, probably. Rain, snow, probably mostly rain, really. But when you get into Sunday, so when you're already on the backside of the storm, that's really when there's very high potential for certainly the western parts, in the northwest parts of North Dakota, to be seeing snow, perhaps even all snow. Now, before we get, and that's going to be a significant storm as well. That's a solid at least 6 inches. There might be a lot more than that. We already have a winter storm warning, which goes into effect this morning at 7 a.m. for places in Minnesota, not Duluth, Minnesota, but very close to Duluth, Minnesota. 6 to 10 inches of snow expected in areas over there. That's a low pressure system, which is pushing off to the northeast. The northeast also, areas got 18 inches of snow. That was on Tuesday. That was on Monday, actually. By Tuesday morning already, there are places which were getting a foot, even more of snow. There were places there's videos of thunder snow, just very beautiful stuff going on. You have places, this is a rarity to see places with the flowers blooming, but the snow's coming down hard. Also, there was lots of power outages. Some of the counties up there report that they've never seen so many trees downed ever. So there's really a lot going on up there. The cold air, believe it or not, we're not done with it. We're really not done with it. And I couldn't believe it. The National Weather Service here in Chicago says that there's a chance for snow a little bit beyond the 7-day forecast cycle. This is really something phenomenal stuff. We have another record-breaking cold air aloft coming in to the Dakotas for the weekend. That's on top of an unprecedented snowpack, which not only is it very deep snow, but also the moisture content is very high. And regardless of what type of precipitation falls this weekend, there's a risk of flooding. Areas which are getting rain, 2 inches of rain is expected to fall over in North Dakota. 2 inches of water equivalent, some of that falling as snow, some of it falling as rain. Temperatures, believe it or not, you go into South Dakota, Nebraska on Friday, highs going into the mid-90s in Nebraska. North Platte, Nebraska is expecting a record high. The previous record's 92 degrees. Forecast high Friday, 93 degrees. This is a strong storm system. It's bringing in summer heat ahead of the system on Friday. And those 90s go up. South Dakota areas in the 80s. You have temperatures in the 80s for South Dakota. It wouldn't be so surprising to get a 90-degree reading over there when you see how far north those 80s are going. But North Platte, Nebraska, it's going well into the 90s over there. You have North Dakota, of course, is just north of South Dakota. Temperatures getting pretty mild there for this in the southeast parts of North Dakota, not the 80s, maybe the 60s or something like that. But when you get to the northwest part of North Dakota, you have temperatures in the 30s, maybe even colder than that. We're going to, last week, it's something similar to what happened last week, perhaps. Not quite as extreme, maybe, when you had a temperature in Omaha, Nebraska of 91 degrees at 5 o'clock p.m. Then you had a temperature somewhere in the Dakotas of 19 degrees in Spearfish, I think it was. I think that's the city. Spearfish, 19 degrees at 5 o'clock p.m. The teens in one area, the 90s in another area. The Fahrenheit system is a much media-friendly system. The Fahrenheit system is very media-friendly. And you could have a headline 90s in Nebraska, teens in the Dakotas. Also, the North Dakota, South Dakota thing is very media friendly because teens in the Dakotas, 90s in Nebraska, they border each other. One's North Dakota, one's South Dakota. It's 1991. It's like, but even without those headlines, even if you go to the Celsius system, you're still looking 32 degrees Celsius, maybe even 33 degrees Celsius. 33 degrees Celsius in Omaha, Nebraska, and then you go into that town in North Dakota. So if you're looking at a temperature of 19 degrees Fahrenheit, that's about 918. Let's see, Celsius. That's colder than 14 degrees Celsius. That's probably 13 or 12 degrees Celsius. No, colder, 14 below. That's probably, what would it be? 11, 12 degrees below 0 Celsius. It's really cold. That's really cold. 18, 19 degrees over there. So even without the media-friendly Fahrenheit system, and even without the jumbling up North Dakota and South Dakota into one big word, the Dakotas, even just looking at the facts, it's still unbelievable. It's really amazing when you have teens and 90s coming together. In this weekend storm system, we're going to see something pretty similar. I don't know about the blizzard. The blizzard, because the first half might be falling as rain, but there still could be some very significant stuff happening in the second half. What we also have to deal with this time of the year is the solar insolation. Solar insolation, INSOLATION. That's the amount of the sun's rays that's hitting the ground. It's really high this time of the year. We have an ultraviolet index on Thursday here in Chicago, forecast to be at a 7. You go out into the Dakotas where you have snow-covered grounds, that ultraviolet index is going to be higher than a 7. You have the clouds that lowers it. Even on a cloudy day, still, here in Chicago, we're getting an ultraviolet index of a 3. That's equivalent to what it is on a sunny day in South Padre Island, Texas in December. Might even get more ultraviolet rays than that. We're talking about strong sun this time of the year. The National Weather Service in Bismarck, North Dakota informs us, or this might be in Duluth, Minnesota, informs us, it's Duluth, Minnesota for tomorrow, that even though temperatures will be below 32 in the area of the winter storm warning, and it's cloudy and it's snowing, there still could be some melting, and it could even affect the precipitation type. Some of the precipitation might start to fall as rain. It might fall as rain even though the temperatures are below 32, only just because of the solar insolation. It's really, and when you get the heavier precipitation rates, that's when you get the dynamic cooling. That pretty much guarantees, when you have temperatures that cold, you have pretty much of a guarantee with a heavier precipitation rate that the precipitation will be falling as snow. That's what's been going on the East Coast, whenever it was, Monday, Tuesday. Sunday night even. That's what's been going on. Heavier precipitation rates is when the precipitation changes to snow. In some areas, forecasted only rain. But if the precipitation falls down heavily enough, you can start to get snow, even though temperatures are well above 32. It's more common this time of the year to see stuff like that, to see temperatures well above 32 and precipitation falling as snow. I have noticed in the month of April, it is a lot more common. When you go back into November and December, the precipitation falls as rain, usually when temperatures are in the upper 30s, sometimes even mid-30s. But this time of the year, mid and upper 30s would be cold enough for the precipitation to fall as snow if you're in the backside of the storm system. The areas on the major cities on the East Coast got pretty much a cold rain. There could have been some thunder and lightning off in the probably Cape Cod or so in the Massachusetts area. We have a severe weather risk for tomorrow. That's going to be affecting the Oklahoma area. Not too bad, just a marginal risk. There's a chance for thunderstorms here in the Chicago area. The low pressure system, the deal for tomorrow here in Chicago is that winds are going to become southerly. That's going to help bring in some warmer temperatures, not too warm, because we're still going to have an easterly component to the wind. And even without that, we're still not really in the warm air mass. It's going to be really dry. Dew points today were in the 20s, even in Arkansas. It's going to be a while until we overcome that dry air. So the precipitation, although it's going to be moist in the mid and upper parts of the atmosphere, moist enough to probably produce precipitation already by late morning tomorrow. Much of that precipitation will be evaporating before it touches the ground until we moisten up the atmosphere here in the towards the surface, when the precipitation will finally start to hit the ground mid to late afternoon in the Chicago area. There could even be some rumbles of thunder. And then Thursday, it's an interesting way to word it. As the cold front moves through, temperatures go up into the 70s. That's behind the cold front. I think we've had that a few times here in Chicago. Just the sun is just going to be so strong Thursday that regardless of what the temperatures are aloft, in where they're measuring at 5,000 feet above, even if it's colder, but on the surface, we're really going to warm up Thursday afternoon. High temperatures, a good chance we're going to be going to 70 degrees Thursday afternoon just because of that strong sun. Friday's when we get that warm front, which is associated with the storm system out in the plains, which is going to be developing a very impactful storm system. Friday's when we get that front, which stretches itself over the Chicago area. St. Louis is going to remain south of that front, and those places are going to get into the 70s. For those areas, Chicago, you're going to have a large temperature spread on Friday. So as that warm air approaches, we're actually going to see those temperatures go down. That's because of precipitation. Showers also in the area for Friday afternoon. Chance for thunderstorms as well when that front pushes through. On Shabbos, that's when we really warm up over here. Shabbos, we really warm up. It's South Bend, Indiana, temperatures very close to 80, perhaps even 80 degrees. And South Bend, Indiana is going to go for a 2-day stretch of temperatures just about 80 degrees, maybe even 80 degrees. Here in the Chicago area, highs low 80s Shabbos. Temperatures, it's questionable what's going to happen Sunday. Cold front is expected to move through Sunday. The forecast is high confidence through Shabbos, but not Sunday. There's not high confidence in Sunday's forecast. That's when the computer models start to do different things starting Sunday. So there is a decent chance that before that front moves through, we could get a large enough window for those temperatures to go up into the mid-70s here in Chicago, but that may not happen. We could get thunderstorms Sunday afternoon. It all depends when that front moves through, and then that window of uncertainty increases after that front moves through. What is known is that there will be cold air, another really cold air aloft. It's going to become deeper and deeper and deeper as it moves off to the northeast next week. And there are indications that some think there could be, some think in the National Weather Service, there might even be precipitation that falls as snow here in the Chicago area a little bit beyond the 7-day forecast cycle. I don't know exactly. To me, it looks like it's going to be further east than the Chicago area, but that's just according to a little app that I saw. But that's what they mentioned in the forecast discussion for the Chicago area. The real warmth moves off to the East Coast for Sunday. Temperatures go up into the 80s all over the place. In Virginia, it would not be surprising at all to see highs go into the 90s. Upper 80s, Virginia, that's really where it's going to get warm. West Virginia, Washington, D.C., 80s as well for Washington, D.C. Baltimore, now here's the thing. I think it will get to 80 in Baltimore, but I don't think everyone agrees with that because there is a little bit of a sea breeze that is expected to start to develop on Sunday as well. And the question is, how far inland will that sea breeze go? That might have an impact on those temperatures Sunday afternoon. So highs either way, though, temperatures should make it into the 70s at least. And then we do have that really cold air coming into the Northeast for later on next week. So the things to look forward to for those of us that are going to be spending Yontif outside here, the fact that Friday and Shabbos especially, it's going to be really warm over a large part of this country. The Midwest, at least, well, a good part of the Midwest. Minneapolis, Minnesota, seeing high temperatures in the 70s there. Other parts of Minnesota are going to get nowhere near that. But 70s there, that's, I think, for Shabbos. So Shabbos, we're really going to get warm over many locations. All of the major Midwest cities going like Omaha, Nebraska already on Friday, really. Friday, perhaps Shabbos as well. That warm Des Moines, Iowa for Shabbos, Chicago. Cincinnati, Ohio might even get to 80 degrees Sunday. Shabbos, maybe Shabbos too. Sunday, 80 degrees possible for Cincinnati, Ohio. Louisville, Kentucky, low 80s possible there. And some areas may hit 90. North Platte, Nebraska especially, has record heat expected there. Other areas may also break records on Friday. So we have that bubble of heat that's going through the Midwest to the East Coast, arriving in Nebraska on Friday, Minnesota for Shabbos, then off to the East Coast for Sunday. But South Bend, Indiana remains in the warm air even on Sunday. And Chicago the front might come in late enough that Chicago might get into the 70s as well. The thunderstorms chances are involved in all of these fronts this time of the year. There will always be a thunderstorm chance. We have tomorrow's cold front moving through, possible thunder in Chicago. We have that warm front moving through on Friday night, possible thunder then, and then the cold front on Sunday, possible thunderstorms then. We even are seeing thunder, snow also in the Northeast. Pacific Northwest has a new storm system coming in as we speak. That's going to be the next player for us this weekend. And really cold air, a deep trough in the jet stream is developing over the weekend for the West Coast. That's what's going to make it so warm for the Midwest, for a large part of the Midwest, not everywhere. North Dakota, parts of North Dakota, again, might be seeing snow, especially on Sunday. Thank you for listening. I wish everyone a great night. A guten Moed, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the holiday.